station, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together. Our pizza is going to taxi over towards our left-hand side. You'll open up the canopy and cool off a little bit. A lot of energy expended during that performance. And you'll gradually see the rotor blades slowing right down to a standstill. The other engine is still operating, so it is not driving those rotor blades.
Well, as soon as that canopy's open, he should be able to hear you, so...
Oh, he will.
He would love to hear your appreciation.
Big round of applause to Pete Davies.
And then he's going to taxi back quite close to the crowd line, so you'll be able to see him quite clearly.
And showing his patriotism and also a very big... We've got to give a big hand to Pete.
Because he's giving us a big hand. Look at that wave.
Number one.
A quiet gentleman, but definitely a showman.
Ichiban. Give him a big wave as he taxis past everybody.
Well done, mate.
I think strapped into that back seat is Jerry the Giraffe as well, who's increasing his hours this weekend and furthering that wonderful charitable cause.
Huge round of applause. Wonderful display. And if you look out to your left, you can see the aircraft of our next display, the Gazelle Squadron, just lurking over the tops of the trees in the background. As they come back in, give them a huge wave again, because they can certainly see you from up there.
Holy crap, helicopters. Are they Apaches?
Beautiful waving fly past.
Are they Apaches? They're Apaches.
I do love a display with the wingtip smoke adding those like ribbon trails.
Oh, Apaches. They're not Apaches.
Beautiful. Look at this lovely touchdown.
And another three-point landing.
You think they've done that before?
Well, another opportunity to show your rated their display. Big round of applause. As soon as those canopies have opened for the engines to stop, they'll be able to hear you.
Nearly 1,800 of these helicopters produced both by Aerospatiale Westland, the Arab British Helicopter Company in Egypt, and Sokol in Yugoslavia. Has a max speed of 170 knots or 310 kilometres an hour and a range of about 195 nautical miles. I'm carrying two 7.62 machine guns or a 20mm cannon and pods for guided or unguided missiles. Quite effective weapons. It's also a Gazelle formerly with 705 Squadron from RNAS Coltrose. Douglas Norton. Number 2, Andrew Foxley, Army Air Corps Gazelle, flying since 2014 with tours in Germany, Northern Ireland, Canada and Cyprus, and also with 17th Regiment Territorial Army. Also flew the Lynx Mark 7. Kev Matheson, number 3, is a former Royal Navy Gazelle seeking Merlin and US Navy Seahawk pilot and part of the Sharks display team in 1990. Jim Richards went into the Army from school, commissioned in the Royal Artillery, the same regiment as his grandfather, father and uncle. He's undertaken tours in Norway, Belize, Kuwait and Cyprus. Also part of the team has over 1,200 hours on the Gazelle. From behind to our right. As you see now, coming in ahead.
Yes. Noisy bugger. Here he comes. Oh wow. Awesome. Off he goes.
Part of the original design specification for this was not only to be a bomber interceptor capable of Mach 1.4, but also to be capable of flying in all weather from bases or highways, and also capable of being refueled and rearmed by conscripts with an absolute minimum of training.
And then these distinctive colours which form bright patterns in the sky.
A variety of different engines can be used with this, like the de Havilland Gypsy Major, the Renault, a higher horsepower Gypsy Major, the Blackburn Cirrus Major, and also the 175 horsepower Mathis engine. But they are all inverted 4-cylinder air-cooled inline engines.
Display.
Pilots for today are Richard Ward, Roger Bishop and Richard Meredith. Now this team actually also grew out of the Tiger Club, the Tiger Club Biplane 4. Tiger Club has a lot to answer for with...
It's also a great place if you wanted to learn to fly in one of these vintage aircraft.
Do you know where they're based?
They're down in Kent.
Kent. Spitfire country. Coming in from your left now, ladies and gentlemen, the Stomp team. Entering into a 360-degree turn. Sun glinting off those upper wings. Absolutely beautiful sight here at Ragley Hall for Midlands Air Festival 2023. You can see them a little bit twitchy there because, as Ellen mentioned earlier on, we have days heating up, we have a breeze, and we have thermals as well. A little bit of turbulence coming off the tops of the trees, and also from the grass fields we have a lot of heat coming up. Something that glider pilots actually love and look forward to.
So Lord William Seymour, who is gracefully allowed us to make home on his grounds this weekend, was sitting inside one of these aircraft earlier and being talked through the process of flying by one of the team members, and was just enthralled by the age of the aircraft and also the way that it's flown.
This is pure joy for me.
What else would you like to do on a Sunday afternoon?
Exactly. Apart from sitting down here with a s'more or a computer.
What's the time?
Nice round robin here.
Well, this tail chasing also very reminiscent of the wartime flying that dates back to World War I and onwards through to even modern times.
Planes, and I have had limited, but being able to just poke your head out of the cockpit and look over the side and see the countryside disappearing.
The thing about these aircraft is actually very little forward viewing. As I said, when Lord William was sitting in the stump earlier, we asked him to see what he could see straight forward, and nothing at all. So the pilots use two things. They either look over the side of the cockpit to see what's in front of them, or they sidestep the aircraft, inputting rudder, which they use with their feet, to make the aircraft really fly sort of on its sideways, and it kicks the nose sideways so that they can see what's coming in front of them. And when you watch them land, they'll definitely do this before then straighten the aircraft up for landing.
It's a very good way of losing altitude too. It's very foreign the first time you do it when you put in rudder and then you put in adverse aileron.
My problem when I was little, I wasn't tall enough to either see out or reach the rudder pedals.
When you were little.
Yeah, my dad used to just throw my brother and I inside anything. He was flour liqueur, which you could mix with anything from soda water to prosecco, and even a little bit of whiskey to create various different cocktails. I tried one the other evening.
There
Just
better not
with
be
soda
anybody
water.
in my way.
Hugo, I believe.
And it was a little bit of lime, and it was incredibly refreshing.
He's coming in.
So thank you for that. So the aircraft, when they leave today, will be heading back down to Kent to Headcorn and enjoying a stunning evening flight home. Big wave, everyone, as the aircraft comes into land. And as always, once the engine is stopped, they would love to hear your appreciation with rapturous applause, please.
Beautiful landing there.
We're seeing a lot of tailwheel, tri carriage landings today, whereas yesterday we were seeing mainly just two main wheels and then the tail coming down afterwards. So I think it's a little calmer conditions today to allow that.
It's funny how some pilots
Bloody hell, yeah, we can't see bugger all.
a wheeler or a three-pointer, and they do that no matter what the wind conditions are. It's just a preference that they have.
He has to keep standing up to look over.
Used for artillery spotting. That is an area that is not well understood, not well read by very many people, but there were hundreds of aircraft were employed on those duties throughout Europe and the Mediterranean and also in the China, Burma, India theatre. This aircraft is a follow-on from those venerable machines of World War II. Exactly the same type of manufacture, wooden spars, beautiful fabric-covered wings, and you can see those flaps that are external to the wing. Very, very manoeuvrable, as you can see Kevin just circling very tightly here, and this was one of the manoeuvres that they would perform to spot something on the ground. Didn't fly very fast at all, but didn't have to. That was not its raison d'etre. It was deliberately supposed to fly slowly so that it could spot any changes on the ground. Give the pilot the time to observe. There were over 400 of these built, starting in 1945. 8 different variants and used by 11 different military air arms. The RAF had 13 squadrons of these and 1 operational training unit. Now this, compared to the World War II versions, basically featured a strengthened undercarriage, a higher performance engine. The undercarriage was obviously lengthened to accommodate the larger propeller, and it had external flaps which are not retractable, and you can really see them here.
I can see your flaps.
They did actually produce a training version of this called the T7, and some of those T7s were later modified with larger tail surfaces, a better radio, and they were fitted with wheels or could be fitted with floats or skis for the Commonwealth Trans-Arctic Expedition. As a result, those aircraft were known as the Oster Antarctic.
So, a question I have, Pete, is what is the difference between an Oster and a Cub?
Actually, I think it's, the name is from the southern wind. Mr. Piper, when he developed the Cub, look at that nice sideways flying there. I won't say that it is a knife edge pass, but it's a side slipping pass.
You know, that was
Mr.
a
Piper
cub.
had the yellow
That was a
Piper
cub that
Cub
went over
prior
yours,
to,
you know.
World War II.
Someone on
And when he
the
was asked to produce
channel
an
told me.
AOP aircraft for the US Army, he built the L4 or the Grasshopper, and he was asked, what's the difference between the two, and he said, we painted it green.
What I love about both aircraft is it's got room for a passenger.
Yep. And look at the visibility that you've got in that. Proud to say that the RAAF operated Osters during World War II and also used a couple of these AOP 60s in the 53, 54, 55, 56 voyages to Antarctica. A lot of surplus aircraft were converted for civilian use.
Fly backwards and then land.
The Germans had their AOP aircraft as well, these could carry stretcher patients. They had the Fiesler Storch. Now that is an aircraft capable of carrying 3. It is a very large aircraft, and you can virtually land it and not roll at all if the wind conditions are good enough.
Is this the high-speed flight?
This is the illustratively high-speed flypast. Maximum speed of 108 knots, or about 200 kilometres an hour. But who really wants to fly high speed? And honestly, you want to be flying low so that you can be there and see everything that's going on.
It's a good way of house hunting.
Oh.
Also a beautiful way of seeing the coast as well, if you're wanting to take the aircraft on a journey.
I had the opportunity to fly a former RAF Oster 3 that served in one of our squadrons operated out of Bougainville. Because those aircraft were operating in an area in which these later operated near Malaya during the Malayan campaign. Oster is a very small aircraft for a beluga such as myself.
Something else coming in now.
So the Oster is now on finals to land. So an opportunity to capture the landing of this. So good for forward visibility on this aeroplane, so you can bring it in nice and straight. Lovely touchdown.
But the way the wings are.
The Hurricane was the legend from the Battle of Britain, shooting down more Luftwaffe aircraft than the Spitfire. Used in the Battle of France. There were 10 Hurricane squadrons in France, and in 11 days they shot down 299 Luftwaffe aircraft, plus 65 severely damaged. Unfortunately, during the Battle of France, of the 452 Hurricanes sent, only 66 returned. Unmistakable, around the world, anywhere, right the way through World War II. Was this particular aircraft wearing the D-Day markings?
And Andrew Dixon, known for flying another very famous aircraft, the Sally B.
It's very unfortunate. Ellie would have loved to have had the Sally B here this weekend, but unfortunately caught up in the US promulgated airworthiness directive on B-17s. The Douglas C-47 or DC-3, developed from 2 previous designs, the DC-1 and the DC-2, standing for Douglas Commercial. And we certainly spoke earlier about the sound of the Merlin engine, how it was unmistakable. So is that. You can instantly tell whether it's a DC-3.
Looking so beautiful against this afternoon sunshine.
It's pretty safe to say that there is no country on the planet that has not been served at some stage by the DC-3 or the C-47. Its use has been so widespread. They were produced by Douglas, Showa and Nakajima in Japan, and also by Lusanov in Russia as the Li-2. Some of those Li-2s actually had gun turrets just behind the cockpit. US Army Air Corps received its first militarised DC-3 in August 1939. And of course went on to fly throughout every country in every theatre of the war. AF. Now this is a consecutive serial number but one to Dragamut, which also flew on D-Day. Now this machine, as we said, was transferred to number 1 Heavy Glider Servicing Unit at 38th Group, Netheravon in Wiltshire, and it was recovering Horsa gliders from the Normandy beachhead. Over 40 were recovered and flown back to UK. This machine not only participated on D-Day, but also as part of Operation Market Garden. That was the attempt to drive a combined Allied spearhead force into Germany by the capture of all the strategic bridges in the Netherlands right the way to the Rhine. It was actually the largest paratroop operation in military history, but it ultimately failed. It was literally a bridge too far. Post-war, the machine took part in the Berlin airlift, and while it was still in the RAF, it was used by Short brothers in Scottish Aviation and Marshals, like later Ferranti, who modified the airframe really considerably with a non-standard nose and cockpit wing screen. After a lot of service and storage, it was actually going to be scrapped, and it was saved from the Catterick fire dump by Mike Woodley of Aces High with the assistance from Lord Onslow and the Imperial War Museum. Restored, and in September 1939 was civilian registered, and it's been continuously operated by Aces High ever since, appearing in over 20 movies and television series. It has been said, and rightly, that without the DC-3 or the C-47 and the G, the war would not have been won. They were just so versatile in what they could do. You imagine flying over the hump, across the Himalayas and the Hindu Kush, from India into China in these things, freezing, operating at really low level down the valleys in New Guinea and through the China-Burma India theatre. They are very manoeuvrable, as you can see, Helen.
So I understand this could be the last pass. So Andrew can absolutely see you from that amazing cockpit. So please raise your arms in the air, ladies and gentlemen. Massive wave all the way down the cloud line as the DC-3 is giving us this beautiful and elegant display comes past.
Come on, right-hand team. We know you're the best.
And the left.
Ladies and gentlemen, a beautiful display. As I said, there is no country anywhere in the world, or Antarctica, or the Arctic, that has not seen service by a C-47 at some stage in its life. Long may she fly.
And she's heading back to North Weald, which is down in Essex, so quite a way to go.
First flew in August 1944, and it was basically designed to fly off the smallest carriers possible. It was also designed to act against the kamikazes that were attacking the Pacific fleets. Now, of course, Grumman, known for its fighters, both the biplane variety, then the Wildcat and the Hellcat. The Bearcat was 20% lighter, had a higher rate of climb by 30% and 50 miles an hour faster than the Hellcat. One of the unique features on the early aircraft was explosive bolts on the wingtips, so that when the aircraft was pulling a huge amount of G in combat, those bolts would actually fire off the wingtips, so it would reduce the load on the airframe. What could possibly go wrong? So after a few errors, they decided to remove that particular feature, but it was an incredible performer ever flown by a member of the royal family. That happened in 1959 when His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh, who's an honorary member of the Tiger Club, flew that aircraft at White Watford. Now, that aircraft still exists to this day, so that's a tribute to His Royal Highness's flying abilities.
Maybe the Prince of Wales needs to have a go next.
Now that would keep it in the family. And as a pilot, he should be able to accomplish that pretty easily.
Now this team display all over the UK and into Europe. We've just returned from a display at La Ferté-Alais, which is just south of Paris. Alan, who's the leader of the ground crew, is sporting a really beautiful t-shirt with the La Ferté-Alais logo on it. They're very well known for their France back over the channel and up through the UK. It takes
China?
a long time.
But can you imagine the views? Imagine what they saw. You know, little villages, wineries, steam trains, everything you can think of. Sparkling waters on rivers.
It's a satellite plane. It's a booby trap.
Now they're at about 500 feet there, and that's the highest part of their display. Call out the results fairly and evenly.
Absolutely. Right, here comes number one. Picking his line, coming down low, finding the centre, and through he goes.
One for yellow.
Followed by the next one. Picking the line, making it true. The yellow and white one is through. So this is my baby, the red one. Can he make it? And yes, he can.
3 for 3.
And following the last one, this is the yellow and red one, and all of them made it. Fantastic work. Okay, round two. How are you doing?
0 from 3. Come on. Come on, yellow and red.
Little Wing Rock, checking where he is. Close, but no cigar.
No. Well, they're coming back in now from the right. Let's see if they do any better from that direction. Gone. What?
Oh!
I put a steward's inquiry on that.
Are we counting that as flying, ladies and gentlemen? These
One for
balloons
red.
are hard to see
Yep.
and harder to hit.
I thought that was much higher than it was. 260 plus vampires of all models that were built, brought to us by the vampire.
Rotate. It is also the only formation display team in the world with the team actually having 4 Stearman aircraft. Massive smoke on, and they're about to get rolling. Right, again, audience participation, everybody. We'd love you to wave your arms. The girls can see you very clearly, and as they fly through the sky with the greatest of ease, we would love to see you. So last radio call, getting permission to take off, and they've just been given clearance to commence their display. So, number 1, flown by Dave Barrell with Kirsten on the wing, with the red, white and blue colouring, followed closely by Brian Corns with Emma on the wing in the blue, white and red Stearman. And the girls